Good afternoon internet and welcome back to the channel. So it's the 31st of July, the last day of July, eh? So beautiful weather, absolutely glorious weather. It's 29 degrees here in good old Finisterre, eh? Trying to dry up some of the rain that's fell on us for so many months. Okay, and you may ask yourselves, why am I not out on my bike? And that's an extremely good question, that is. You know, I seem to be racked this year with a summer of misfortune. So if you remember, first of all, the staircase going up to the garage cracked, unfortunately, while I was standing on it, and I did my foot, which is far from recovered, but it's getting there. And but the other day, Sunday, was it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday night. Gout. I mean, have you ever had gout? Oh my life. I've suffered with gout. Not suffered. No, suffered is the wrong word. I had my first gout attack in 2004, and I really thought I'd broke my big toe. Right? It's always the big toes, isn't it? It's always. I mean, I know it does get other parts. You know. I mean, I've got osteoarthritis. I can never say that word. Probably say it wrong. Anyway, you know what I mean. I've got aches and pains in other joints. But gout, well, gout is a totally different kettle of fish. I remember when I was a lad. Well, not a lad. I was in my mid-20s. Fair time ago, to be honest, and I used to work with two guys called Ken and Graham. God bless them, they're gone now, but really nice pair of lads they were, well, blokes. And I suppose they were in their probably mid-50s at the time, and they were from Dudley, place in the West Midlands. Dudley people, like good old get stuck in, graft, and then to the pub on the night, sink a few beers, go home, yeah, have your meal, that's it, done and dusted. Well, one of the guys, Graham, he used to suffer with gout, right? And he used to say to me the pain he was in with his toe. And you know, and this is me being naive, I used to think to myself, how can a toe hurt you that much? It's not possible. But do you know what? Trust me, unless you've had gout, or even if you know someone with gout, because I swear my wife has got about as much sympathy. Well, she hasn't, you know. You'll be all right. It can't be that bad. Anyway, so luckily for me, since 2004, I think I've had about 5 gout attacks, and they last probably a day or two. And although they're not pleasant, you know, you get through it, you know. I mean, your toe hurts, it goes red, you struggle. Just sometimes, just the quilt touching it can be like, which sounds really stupid, but it is. Anyway, so Sunday night, I woke up in the middle of the night. So Sunday night, Monday morning. Now, I've always had this gout in my left foot, but this time, my right big toe, I'm not kidding you. The pain is excruciating, and when I say excruciating, it's absolutely terrible. It's you can't describe. You wouldn't think that you could get so much pain from a big toe, but trust me, you can. And of course, the easy solution to help it is to take anti-inflammatory tablets. You know, ibuprofen. The trouble is, I take high blood pressure and God knows what else, because I had a heart attack some years ago. So you know, I'm on the normal meds following a heart attack, and you can't take anti-inflammatory. So the most you can do is a painkiller, which of course, okay, it does help. I don't like taking medication at the best of times, but yeah, I mean, painkillers, all they do is mask it, innit? It just gives you the break. If anything, I'll take them of a night so you can sleep. But even today, and we're on Wednesday, you know, my toe is still bright red, still swollen up, and the pain is horrendous. Anyway, so there you go. Right, so trust me, if you know someone has got gout and you think to yourself, no, you know what, it ain't. It's absolutely awful, horrible. And what makes it is, and you don't realise this, you know, like this year, I had them 4 to 5 weeks that I was hobbling around on crutches, you know, because of my ankle. That still is far from right. I mean, I only have to walk around the local supermarket and my ankle swells up. I'm still under the doctors with it. And now this, and it's always your mobility, and that's the problem. When you lose your mobility, it's horrible. You know, it's absolutely horrible. It's bad enough if it's your arm or your hand, but when you can't walk, you know, and of course, it doesn't matter which foot it is. Riding a motorcycle, you use one or the other, don't you? And this one, of course, being the right one, is for the brake. And I sat on the bike this morning because I'm dying to go out, and I pressed down on the brake. Oh, the pain. Anyway, okay, enough of the gout. Right, what this video really was about, I don't know if you cast your memory back a few weeks now. I did an unboxing of a rack that I bought for the meteor. Now, I'm a big believer of sort of, you know, I love supporting local businesses. You know, I do. I think maybe more and more people should do this sort of thing and give the little guy a chance. Yeah, you know, I mean, big companies, you know, they rip us off. I don't care what anybody says. You know, they charge far in excess, and 90% of the time the stuff they sell is no better than the cheaper end, you know. But anyway, so now I bought a rack for my Himalayan a while back. Brilliant bit of kit, fits absolutely beautiful, but unfortunately I couldn't find the seller in India that I bought that off. I've also bought a few more bits and bobs from India, and I've had no problem with them at all, never. Now, I bought this rack and it arrived, you know, and it looked, I checked it over, you know, okay, not the greatest welds in the world, but again, you know, I've seen a lot worse. They were fairly tidy, the paint job was nice. I thought, you know, most of all, it's a good solid rack, so it looked great. Until I came to fit it, and then the problem was, when you try to line up, because it's on 4 fixings this way, the 2 fixings are through the rear fixings of the pillion seat, and then there's 2 long arms that go down and they hook on to where the top of your shock absorbers are fixed. Yeah, so I thought, okay, so I did the one side up. But then, so that side was all fixed, yeah, fixed to the shock absorber, fixed here. And then I looked at the, stood behind the bike, so as it comes off and goes across the mudguard, you would think it would be in line with the, this was like that, it was turning to the right, which of course then meant that these 2 fixings this side, well, this one, the hole to go through to the seat was way back because it had turned, and this one was, and I thought, okay, so I undid this side and I tried. There's no way. When it was fabricated, this thing is fabricated out of square. It doesn't fit. There's no 2 ways about it. So there's no point trying to say, well, I can do this too. Anyway. Now I paid €45 for this rack, which price-wise, brilliant. So I emailed the seller and I explained the situation to him, and I took the pictures, you know, and I showed him exactly, so there was no argument, and he never answered me back, and that is what annoys me. You know, this, you know, I bury my head in the sand. I won't bother all that, and it's, you know, you're there willing to take someone's money, so have the decency to answer them back. But obviously, he's not a decent seller or a decent person. It's as simple as that. So then the next step is you open a case with eBay, which I did, and I had to send them the pictures, and they agreed, yeah, okay, the rack's faulty. So they said to me, right, for the full refund, send the rack back and we'll refund you. So I said, hang on, what do you mean, me send the rack back? I said, this is a faulty item, it hasn't come here and I've changed my mind, you know, it's a faulty item, it doesn't fit. It's the seller's responsibility to pay for this rack. Oh, well, they said, you need to negotiate. I said, well, how can I negotiate when he won't, you know, respond to anything I say? So they just faffed around eBay, you know. They was of no use whatsoever, you know. Anyway, so then I opened the case with PayPal, because it was paid through PayPal. And within 2 days, you know, I had to do the same thing. I had to tell them what had happened, you know, tried to contact the seller. Then I opened this up with PayPal, with eBay. Then I had to send them the pictures, blah, 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 blah. So they've got the whole thing. They answered me back within 2 days. And they said, yeah, okay, complete refund. You got to send it back. Again, I asked the question, who's paid? Not us. Or, you know, you can ask the seller and all that. So hang on a sec. I always thought that eBay and especially PayPal were there for the seller's protection. Now, I do remember having a case like this about 5 or 6 years ago where something was wrong and eBay covered the PayPal covered the postage of the item going back. But apparently, according to the guys at PayPal, that's been stopped. They don't do that now. It's either you've got to negotiate with the seller, which is laughable considering that they're there supposedly to protect you, or you pay it yourself. Now, I took it to the post office, and for me to send this rack, because bear in mind this isn't every bit of kit, for me to send this rack back to Delhi, I got a postage cost of just under €35. I paid €45, so I'm actually sending it back. Excuse me, it's my phone. So I'm actually sending this back to gain €10. What a joke! What an absolute joke! So then, after that I said this to the guys at PayPal, they said, well, you can try and renegotiate with eBay and see if they'll cover it. So I'll go back to eBay. Now this is where the fun starts, right? The guy from eBay says, well, when I open the claim, now bear this in mind because this is important should anybody go through the same. This is really important. When you open a claim with eBay, there's a drop down list, right? You know, why have you started the claim? So it drops down and it says either it doesn't fit, it was damaged, or it is not as described. And there's a couple more, I think. So obviously I went to it doesn't fit because it doesn't fit, right? So that was the obvious choice. So that's what I did. Now this guy at eBay said, you chose the wrong one. You should have chose not as described. And apparently if I'd have chose not as described, then eBay would have covered the cost of it going back. I said to him, but how'd you work that out? It is as described because his listing said it was for a Meteor 350, you know, Royal Enfield Meteor 350. So it was as described. What it wasn't, it didn't fit. It wasn't manufactured correctly, yeah? So it didn't fit. But they wasn't having none of this, right? They said it was my fault. I'd done the forms wrong. I personally think it's a joke, an absolute joke and a rip-off. Okay, it's €45. I'm not happy at losing €45. I've got kids there. I'll quite happily spend that on my kids. Not some robbing, words fail me. I won't swear on my channel, but I'm sure you can all think the words are right. The guy's a joke. Now, this is the channel. I'm just going to turn you round, right? This is who he is, right? That's what he calls himself, okay? I don't know whether that's the geezer there. Who cares? But that's who it is. This is on eBay and I dare say you could find him. Don't touch him. He's a joke, right? He's an absolute joke. So, I've got a rack out there which, you know, okay, I've got a mate of mine that's a fabricator and I was talking to him and he says, bring it to me, Col, he said, and we'll try and... I've got a welder here, but believe you me, I am not a welder. I'm absolutely useless at welding. By the time I've finished, there'll be just... I'll burn it and burn it and burn it and there'll be no rack left. But basically, I think what he's going to do is run a side piece of steel each way and then we'll fix through that to the seat. That's my idea. He might disagree. But yeah. So that's the run then. So I'm just saying, you know, and yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are going to say, well, you know, You could have gone and bought it from Hitchcock's or somewhere else, and yeah, you're right, I could have done. And yes, it probably would have fitted with no problem at all. But like I said, I like supporting the smaller companies, you know. That's what makes the world go round. Why should the big boys have all the cash? But unfortunately, you end up sometimes coming across a knob like this, and you know, unfortunately, I got stung. So I'm trying to get this out there to make sure that other people don't get stung. Right, well that's it really. Yeah, nothing really to talk about. I'd love to talk about what happened, the riots and that, but I'm not going to, because that will cause a political storm. I'll keep them thoughts to myself. Okay, so I hope you're all out on your bikes. I hope you're all enjoying the weather. I hope it's great where you are. If you've liked this video, give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, I'm getting a few along the way. We're creeping up slowly. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate people subscribing, and you know what, and I appreciate people who take the time to comment back. You know, makes this little community, and you know, it's really nice for me, because I'm stuck here in France. You know, that sounds bad, really, stuck here in France. I don't mean it like that at all, but my French, my mastery of the French language is awful. I'm terrible. So, you know, I don't socialise much at all. So it's nice to sort of build up a little community, you know, which I've done. You know, there's a few people who regularly comment on my channel, and I always try, well, I do not try to answer anybody back that takes the time to leave me a comment. Even, you know, I've had one or two bad comments, not many, I've got to be honest, not many at all. I always answer them back, and I always try to find a way to work round, you know, and sometimes it works great. Anyway, so yeah, if you're not subscribed, it'd be great if you could subscribe. Okay, take care, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.